All right. Hello, hello, hello. I'm gonna turn the volume up. Okay. All right. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Astrology After Dark. And so tonight we are continuing on with our series of planets of the sixth house. Last week, we dove deep into the signs on the sixth house and how that can manifest as far as your health and how you can use that to optimize your health and your self care. And so tonight, I'm going to dive into how the planets have an effect on your sixth house. Okay. Um, and so, real quick, welcome. And if you are new to me or to the channel, my name is Katrice, and I am the Natal Chart Navigator. And here on this channel, I teach divorced women how to use their natal charts to rebuild their lives after divorce. Okay. And so, let me get my notes and then we will jump into it. Okay. Now, you do need, if you took notes last week, this is a continuation. So you also want to take notes this week. If you have any questions, make sure that you put them in the chat. And even if you're watching this on the replay, you can put it in the comments. And then I'll go back. I'll answer questions after any questions that you have. Okay. All right. So let's jump into it. So the sixth house in your astrology natal chart, it's like it is your personal wellness blueprint. Okay. It is the house of health, and it shows exactly how your body responds to stress, to daily habits, and also to self care. Okay. So we're going to dive in tonight and see how the planets reveal what they reveal about your health. Okay. So when planets are here in the sixth house, they don't just also uh, negate or not negate, but pivot or um, towards illness. They also can speak of wellness, but they also, wherever there is imbalance or a illness in the chart, it also can show you the remedy as well. Okay, so the chart doesn't just speak to what can go wrong; it also speaks to how you can remedy that. Okay, now you have to take into account aspects as well, and I will do a teaching on just breaking down aspects and how you can work with the aspects, especially the ones that can be a little more challenging in how they play out. Um, but tonight, like I said, we're just going to do planets. So first, let's talk about why the sixth house is so important. Why does it matter? Okay, which I did kind of touch on this last week. But I just want to touch on it again, especially if you missed last week's class. So the sixth house is more than just your health, right? Um, and it speaks more than just about the health of your body. It is the connection between your work, your stress levels, and your health. Because the sixth house is the house of work, but it's also the house of our daily routines, right? And work is a part of, your routine. Okay. And so it's where you learn that the small choices that you make every day adds up. Now, sixth house does have some significations to the sign of Virgo. It is not the Virgo house, okay? Because in traditional astrology, the houses and the signs are separate. They're not one. Okay. And I know if you look up astrology, if you hear a lot of people online that are teaching about astrology, they will tell you that the sixth house is the Virgo house. it's the house of health. It's not the Virgo house, right? Because depending on the sign that you have, it that is how that house is manifested, right? Depending on the sign. It has some significations of Virgo because Virgo is a sign of health, right? Um, and so the sixth house and Virgo have some of the same significations. However, the sixth house is not the Virgo house. Okay. Um, but um, the planets in your sixth house, they bring a unique energy to your routines, to your healing, and even the health patterns that you inherit or experience over time. Okay, so you want to write this down. Now, if you don't have any planets in your sixth house, it doesn't mean that that house isn't like important. It is very important. Every house in the chart is important because it represents an area of your life. Okay, it's just that when you have planets in certain houses in this lifetime, that area of life is more of a focus for you than others. Okay, it's more of a highlighted focus than others. However, the sixth house is always a house that you should have knowledge on because it is the health. It is your health, and it signifies the health of your body. So the sixth house and the first house, um, they aren't linked as far as like the first house and the fifth house are trying. The sixth house is kind of like out of view of the first house. However, it's still very important that you know and understand your sixth house. Okay. So we're going to go talking about the houses. Now, first, we're going to talk about the sun, not the houses, the planets. Okay. So the sun in the sixth house. Now, the sun is your vitality. Okay. Not only is it your vitality, it's your life force, and it is who you are at your core being. Okay, and so when the sun is in the sixth house, you you have a strong vitality, and but you have to align your daily routines with your purpose. Okay, well, you don't have to. However, for you to get the most vitality, you if you overwork or if you ignore rest, burnout and stress and heart strain can creep in because the sun rules Leo, the sign of Leo. Okay, and in medical astrology, the sun in Leo is linked to the heart, right? Because the heart it's your life force, it's the heartbeat of you. If your heart stops working, you're gone, right? So you know, you want to pay attention if you have your sun in the sixth house, you really want to pay attention to um your heart, to your circulatory system. You want to make sure that your heart is really in good working condition. If you have high blood pressure, you want to make sure you take care of that. If you're on medication, take care of that, or do what you need to do so that you can get off of medication. This also would apply to you if you have strong Leo placements. So, like if you're a Leo rising, if you are a Leo, especially if you're a Leo sun sign, um, if you have strong Leo placements as well. You want to pay attention to your heart, and you may also look into your heart chakra. The heart chakra, if there's a blockage in your heart chakra, or if it's out of balance. So either if it's a blockage or if it's like a overuse. I forgot what it's called, but anyway, that can cause heart issues, okay, as well. Now, uh, your best medicine is for you to be in balance. Um, so, leading with purpose while still prioritizing your downtime, okay? So you want to make sure that you are eating foods that will strengthen the heart, and that where you can where you feel good. Now, if you are a Leo, I think I know I spoke about this last week, but good quality protein, animal proteins is really good for you. If you don't eat animal products, then you want to get with a dietitian or somebody who or do your own research. But to see what proteins that you could supplement for animal protein because protein is very, very important for a Leo placement. Animal protein is actually the best. Good quality animal protein is the best, but whatever, however you eat, it's up to you. But the good quality protein is very, very um, important. Okay. You you also have to feel useful when the sun is in the sixth house. Like I said, it has to be meaningful work. So you could be in healthcare where you're taking care of somebody, um, or you're working with somebody doing like, and it doesn't have to be like as a nurse or a doctor. It could be or CNA. It could be, like a therapist. You may, anywhere where you can help people is really, really good. Um, okay, so you might be good in management, being an entrepreneur where you are, serving people, those types of things. It really helps when it comes to that. Okay. All right. So moving on to the moon. Okay. So the moon in the sixth house. So when the moon is here, your emotions show up in your body. Stress, moods, and even what you eat directly impact your health. And I spoke about this last week when I talked about cancer being in the sixth house, because the moon is the ruler of cancer. And so having the moon in the sixth house, you are really going to have to be very mindful of your emotions in relation to your food. Okay. Um, you don't want to let your emotions um, to sway you because this is where you can find where you're overeating. Um, you could overeat, or you could undereat because um, you don't want to eat so much. You don't want to eat a lot because you may be like in a sad or depressive state. So you really have to be careful when you have the moon in the sixth house. Um, let me see what else here. Also, the moon represents our unconscious habits and routines. And so, you might be, doing things that you are unaware of when it comes to your health. You have to be careful. You have to make sure that you are getting enough sleep as well. You could be holding on to patterns and things that are tied. Um, choosing certain foods based on your emotional needs. So, like if you are, if food is a comfort for you, you may eat like a lot of sweets or ice creams or just a lot of heavy, unhealthy foods because they are comfort, because they make you feel better. And so you want to break out of that. You want to. Make sure that you are eating foods that are really nutrient dense, okay? Um, Foods that's going to be really healthy for you and nourishing, okay? Um, you may have an emotional attachment to food, and so for you, you are really going to, if you do have an emotional attachment to food, you are really going to want to get to the root cause of the emotions because how you changing your emotional landscape internally will greatly impact your health and your eating habits. Okay. Now the moon also represents the mother, and so if you are somebody that if you are very involved, if you and your mom are very involved, within the day to day. You may be her caretaker, and so you that can have an effect on you as well. Okay. All right. So now moving on to Mars in the sixth house. Okay. Mars brings a lot of drive. Okay. Mars is a very action oriented energy. It is the ruler of Aries and Scorpio. And so this would be perfect for you if you have Mars, fitness and active routines, going to the gym, working out. Um, that would be really, really good for you as far as your health. These are the people who you see love the gym. They love running. They love doing physical activity. These are people you see like that are boxers. That's that really combative, active energy. Okay. But you have to be careful having Mars in the sixth house because it can also make you push yourself too hard, which can lead to inflammation, which can lead to accidents and burnouts. Now, having Mars in the sixth house or Aries or Scorpio in the sixth house, but especially Aries, because it is fire energy, you are going to want to need to make sure that you are getting that protein, that good animal protein. And this is for all the fire signs. But you're going to need to make sure you're getting that good animal protein because Mars has signification with the blood. And so you are going to want to make sure that you're getting that protein to help, with the blood and the circulation. Okay. Now, in order for you to thrive, you're going to want to balance high intensity workouts with recovery and cooling practices that protect your energy. Okay. You have to have balance here. You do not want to overwork yourself because that can cause uh, a lot of issues. Okay. Um, Now, Mars does love being in the sixth house. Okay. And so this also would make you very ambitious. So when it comes to work as well, because again, sixth house is the house of daily routines, you definitely want to make sure that you are taking that while you're being ambitious, you are taking time to rest, okay? That you are not overdoing it because you'll burn yourself out very quickly, okay? And Mars is a very quick action oriented, and so you don't want to burn yourself out. And so you might think that you can go, go, go. But it's like you have that spark and then the spark burns out. So you want to be very careful of that. Um, but lifting weights, that is good for people who have Mars. Now, when it comes to the different types of food, people who have Mars in the sixth house tend to eat kind of quickly, rather quickly. You want to make sure that you are eating um, at a decent pace. Chew your food. Make sure you're chewing your food, not just eating, putting it in your mouth and like swallowing, because I do know people that do that. You want to make sure that you are chewing your food so that it's easier for your digestive system to break it down. Okay. Digestive system is ruled by Virgo. And so you want to make sure that it has time to break it down so that it can get all of the different nutrients and things out of it. You may also like spicy foods, which that can be okay. You do want to like kind of have that imbalance. One thing when it comes to the sixth house in generally, no matter what planet you have there or what sign you have there, is balance. Okay, you want to do everything in balance. You never want to do more of one thing than the other, because it can throw you off balance. Okay, you may like your food hot and hot as in like the temperature. Um, you know, you might like it as soon as it comes out of the oven. You might be one of those people that's like, as you're eating it. Okay, that's just Mars. Mars is a very fiery energy. Okay. Um, Make sure that I got everything. Okay, yeah. So if you have Mars in the sixth house, Aries or Scorpio on that house, or if you are a Aries or Scorpio rising, um, then you, like I said earlier, if you're going to do a plant-based diet, you may have a harder time, with your health because that Mars energy needs, because Mars has the significations in medical astrology to blood, it needs that animal protein. Okay. So you may want to work with a nutritionist to see how you can get that. But you can also have a Mars that can make you be more inflammatory, can make you have more fevers. When my son was little, he would have febrile seizures. He has Mars in the sixth house, and he would have febrile seizures. I didn't know, when he was little, but he had them up until I think he was like maybe 3 or 4, and then he stopped having them. But Mars, because it's influenced, he has Mars there. That can be something that can cause that to happen. Okay. All right. So now let me know in the comments. Um, you know, what do you have, the sun, the moon, or Mars? That's what we talked about so far. And if this is resonating with you, if you are noticing, or what have you noticed having these planets in your sixth house? Let me know in the comments. Okay. All right. The next one is Venus in the sixth house. Okay. So Venus rules Mars and Taurus, and no, Venus rules Taurus and Libra. Okay. And last week I talked about how having these signs on your sixth house can make you prone to be a little more lackadaisical, a little, you may not be somebody who like wants to exercise a lot, especially if you have Taurus in this house. Because Taurus is an energy, it loves comfort, it loves relaxation, it loves to eat. Um, and so it can make you prone to be a little bit on the heavier side, especially with Taurus. But Venus in this house, it brings pleasures to your routines. So, you might be somebody, you love beautiful food, you're really into skincare or makeup, or you might be really into dancing or yoga. Um, but Venus can also lead to overindulgence in sweets or in comfort foods, especially in Taurus with the comfort foods. So balance is definitely key. Okay. Now Libra rules the kidneys. So if you have Venus here, Venus is also has significations with the kidneys. So if you have Venus here, kidney health is going to be very, very important to you. You're going to want to make sure that you are doing what you need to do to take care of your kidneys. Okay, very, very much so. And also, if you have any planets in in if you have any planets in Libra, especially if the ruler of the sixth house is in the sign of Libra, you're gonna want to take care of your kidneys. Okay, make sure that you're taking care of your kidneys. Um, when you make your wellness enjoyable, you'll stick to it, right? So you want to make sure that you are really make wellness fun, make it, beautiful. If you have to get cute to go work out, especially if you have Libra in the sixth house, get cute and go, to go to the gym. I know a lot of people a lot of women, they work out because they get to buy the cute little workout clothes, and they don't really like do it for the workout. They do it because they get to look cute while they're working out. But whatever, as long as you are doing what you need to do to make yourself, healthy, right? So if getting cute is your motivation, then that's what it is. Now, also having Venus here, um, this planet is closely associated with the body's homeostatic system, and so this is the way that the body keeps itself in balance. It's also tied to the veins, um, and so you know this is why you have to be and glucose as well. So this is why you are it's very important that you watch your sugar intake because um, if this gets out of balance, it could throw you into having diabetes, kidney issues, issues with your endocrine system, which is for your kidneys. And so you want to make sure that you are um, taking care of that and really maintaining that because you don't want to become diabetic. You don't want issues with your kidneys. Okay, you don't want to have to be on dialysis. Okay. And so you may need to, especially if you have Libra here, you may need to get a partner because Libra is the energy of, the partner relationships. And so, maybe, working out for you, you can get cute to go work out and you have a partner that you work out. So, you have a group of friends or, maybe you and your partner. Um, can go and work out together, and that can be a motivation for you. Okay. Okay. All right. Moving on next to Jupiter in the sixth house. Okay. So Jupiter in the sixth house or Sagittarius, like last week, talked about having Sagittarius in the sixth house. Jupiter expands everything that it touches. And so when it's in the sixth house, it can mean that because it is the greater benefic, it can mean that you have health, you have great health, right? But it can also bring weight fluctuations and overindulgence. Okay, um, so moderation is key. Having Jupiter in the sixth house. Um, you also, this is another one because it does have those significations with fire, with Sagittarius. You definitely want to make sure that you are getting that good protein, but also Jupiter has significations with the hips. And so with the hip joints and the thighs. So you are going to want to make sure that you are taking care of your hips, that you're taking care of your thighs. Um, so when you're exercising, those may be parts of the body that you really focus on. Um, let's see what else here. Now, it also has to do with your liver. Jupiter does the liver and your liver function and your cerebral. So you have to be careful having Jupiter here, especially if you're taking like any type of medication or especially like over the counter medication. That can cause issues with your liver. My mom died of liver cancer and she used to take a lot of pills. She used to take pills for like seemed like everything. Like um, she worked at night, so sometimes she couldn't sleep during the day, so she would, take a pill to help her fall asleep. But then sometimes she would take a pill so to help her stay up at night. Then if she had a headache, she was taking aspirin, and so you have to really pay attention to your liver. You may need to do a liver detox. If you are somebody that takes a lot of medication, do a liver detox. To help keep your liver functioning well. Because things can go awry. You also want to make sure. Um, that you are looking that you're eating the right kind of fats because that's very important with Jupiter because Jupiter um, has has to do with fats and your fat metabolism. So if you're eating a lot of processed oils, a lot of fried foods, canola oil, that stuff is not going to be good for you. in general. So you're going to want to make sure that you are, eating healthier oils like avocado oil, olive oil, cutting out the fried fatty foods, the processed meats and things like that. You're going to want to, really cut down on that. Um, and then like I was saying earlier about the detoxifications, that detoxification is going to be really good, especially for the liver, if you have Jupiter or Sagittarius in the sixth house. Okay. Also, having Jupiter here can make you more resilient. You can recover easier from disease. You may be more resistant to getting disease. And when you get sick, like I said, get recover a lot better. Um, okay. All right. Now moving on to Saturn in the sixth house. So with Saturn in the sixth house, Saturn is represents the bones in our in medical astrology. Its significations, main signification is the bones, is our skeletal structure. Because Saturn is structure. And it teaches lessons through our health. And so, having Saturn in the sixth house, it can bring chronic conditions or fatigue if ignored. Okay. I know somebody who has Saturn in the sixth house, and they ended up finding out that their heart only functioned at 10%. And they fairly young, like I think was in what's this was I think back in 2020. So like 38, 39, and their heart was only functioning at 10%. Okay. They were not the very healthiest of people. Um, but it can also this also can bring chronic conditions. Saturn can also bring chronic conditions. Having Capricorn, with Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn, so having Capricorn here can also bring chronic conditions. Um, but if work at, um, if you work on yourself, work on your health, then you can kind of, become healthier over time. Saturn is one of those placements where things might look bad, but as you go on and you progress, if you are doing the work, you can really turn the situation around and it can be a really beautiful thing, right? Um, so if you have Saturn in the sixth house, you're gonna need discipline and structure and routine. Um, and you will uh, benefit from that. Okay. Um, People who have this placement are usually able to go, and they get a lot of done, and they can get a lot done because they have a lot of self-discipline. But they really need to make sure that they are also taking time to rest. Okay. Now, when it comes to turning your health around with Saturn in the sixth house, this is more closely tied to people who have chronic issues. Um, so it may take longer than you would like. Um, Saturn rules time, okay? And so, it may take time for things to manifest or unfold. Now, you do need to have meaningful um, it could take time for things to unfold, but once it does, if you start working on it, like I said earlier, it'll take time, but you can, get things, you know, better, right? This placement it does teach you delayed gratification. And if you have this placement, you probably are good at delayed gratification when it comes to your experiences. Um, So you're gonna want to make sure that if you get sick, it may take you a little longer to get better than others having this placement. Okay. Um, Now, like I said earlier, if you put in the work, having Saturn here, um, you could overcome serious and chronic illness because you are willing to do everything you need to do in order to see those changes through, and you by being self-disciplined. Okay. So, and this also applies if you have um, Capricorn in the sixth house as well. Okay. All right. Moving on to Uranus in the sixth house. So, Uranus is the planet of shock and it brings surprises. And so, your health may suddenly shift or it may require unconventional approaches. Okay. Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius. Saturn is the traditional ruler, and the nervous system stress is common. Um, Having Uranus in the sixth house, so wellness for you will come from flexibility, from grounding, and from being open to alternative healing, but also making time to unplug from technology. Okay. Um, what else about Uranus? Okay. Um, Now you're gonna need to switch it up. Okay. You're gonna need to want to make to do things different. Doing the same thing over and over every day. That may work for Saturn. It does not work for having Uranus in the sixth house. Okay, so you're gonna want to switch things up. And if you are, doing a routine, you've been doing it for a while, and you're not seeing any results, so you're feeling stagnant, you're gonna want to have to switch it up. The best routine, obviously, for this placement would be no routine and just rolling with the punches and making sure that you have a lot of really exciting activities that you can do every single day to improve your health. Um, Also, trying new and exciting healthy foods and making sure that you have new and exciting healthy ways of exercising and moving your body. Okay. Biohacking might be something that you would want to look into if you have Uranus in the sixth house. Um, and different technological advances in health that can help you to improve your body. That's going to be really well for you if you have Uranus or Aquarius in the sixth house. Now, let me go back because I skipped right over Mercury. Um, so let's discuss Mercury. So Mercury. Let me see here. Okay, so Mercury in the sixth house. Okay, now, Mercury in the sixth house. You need to learn new things every single day. You need work. You need to be doing things where you're using your mind and your communication skills. That is very, very key for your overall happiness and well-being. Okay. So this is an energy that can be tied with caregiving through communication healing. So that could be like a therapist. Okay. That could be really, really good for you. So mental health could be very good for you. Um, you're also going to want to do things, you're going to want to take care of your nervous system as well. So if you have Gemini in this house, or if you have Virgo in this house as well, you're going to want to do things where you are really taking care of your nervous system, right? Anxiety is going to be something that really could be something that you deal with. You're going to want to make sure that you are doing things to, reduce your anxiety levels. Um, because having Mercury in the sixth house, it can make you be to a place to where you're like overthinking a lot in your day to day. You could have a lot of communication going on, a lot of busyness, a lot of chaos thrown at you, throughout your day. And so your nervous system can get overwhelmed. So you're going to want to do things like breath work. Um, I always recommend, as a Virgo myself, I always recommend breath work for Virgo and Gemini placements. because they are ruled by Mercury, that mercurial energy, and the mind is just constantly going, 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 going. So you are going to want to make sure that you are taking care of your mind. Your mental system is going to be your mental and your nervous system is going to be key for you. When it comes to, food, you're going to want to look at brain health, right? What can you do? What foods can you eat to make sure that your brain, that you are really focusing on the health of your brain, um, because that is something that you're using all the time. You also want to move, get into do things that allow you to not just to use your mind, but do some mindless stuff um, as well. Um, Let me see, make sure I have everything for Mercury. Um, Nuts are going to be really good for you. Eating nuts, nuts are good for brain health as well. Um, okay, that's what we have from Mercury. All right, now moving on to Neptune in the sixth house. Okay, so Neptune is the modern ruler of Pisces, and it makes you sensitive to your environment. Okay, so you may feel the effects of toxins, drugs, and or anything that's unclear. Okay, having Neptune here can cause health confusion or even misdiagnosis can happen. Okay, now having Neptune here. Drinking water is going to be very, very important for you. Or if you have Pisces in this house, okay? Drinking water is going to be absolutely important for you. Like that is going to be like one of your main ways of drinking. You're also going to want to do clean eating as well, meditating, and spiritual self-care because um, Neptune is a very spiritual type of energy. Now, you also have to be careful because um, Neptune can you cause addictions. It is escapism is something that can likely happen having Neptune here. Um, So, if you were to get hurt and then they put you on pain pills, you have to be careful because you could get addicted to those pain pills, um, becoming addicted to alcohol, becoming addicted to any type of illicit substances that can to help you to escape from whatever it is you're dealing with in a reality. So you want to be careful with that as well. That's not something that you are going to want to indulge in if you can help it. Okay. Um, Let me see here. What else do we have for Neptune? Um, okay. This can be a more difficult placement just because Neptune makes the body more sensitive, and it's also very boundless, very borderless. So boundaries are really hard here to kind of keep within the day to day. You just kind of like a really go with the flowy type of energy. But you're gonna want to have to work on your boundaries, especially when it comes to like your coworkers and things like that. Like you don't want to just have people like kind of just going, feeling like they can just run all over you. Also, this when it comes to um, you may be a caregiver. That may be something you do, but you want to watch out for turning caregiving into martyrdom, because that's something where you can be taking on everybody else's stuff, and that's not good for you. And because you're pulling in all those energies. Um, having Neptune here makes you very sensitive to energies. And so, you're taking on that energy. And so you have to be careful, and you have to do like a spiritual detox, um, to make sure that you're not holding on to energies and things that belong to other people and not yourself. Okay. Boundaries are going to be so very key for you in your when it comes to your health. You're gonna have to like really practice boundaries because you're just so sensitive to everybody else's energies. Okay. Um, Also, you are another one that may benefit from alternative healing, just like having Uranus here. Different, holistic healing may be the approach for you versus conventional medicine. And so you may want to look into that as well, especially when you have like one of those mystery illnesses or mystery diagnosis where you really don't know what's going on. And then so you get misdiagnosed, and then, you know, it takes you years to get a proper diagnosis. Okay. So you really are going to want to, and, be mindful of that, having Neptune here, because you could, get misdiagnosed with something that you don't have and then go through the wrong types of treatment, and which can cause more issues. Okay. So if you do have Neptune in the sixth house, then you are going to want to get a second and third, or maybe even a fourth opinion, so that you are confident about what's going on with your body, because clarity is absolutely key having this here, okay? Because Neptune can really make, things foggy, okay? Um, all right, and then last but not least, let me make sure. Okay. Last but not least is Pluto in the sixth house. Okay. So Pluto is the planet of transformation, and wherever it transforms, whatever it touches. Okay. So when it comes to having this in the sixth house, this can mean deep healing journeys, crises that change you, or even obsessive approaches to your routines or to your eating. Okay. And so the key with having Pluto here, one of the keys is to embrace transformation and shadow work. Okay. Once you shift your habits, your healing can be absolutely profound. And with all of these, habits are very, very important. You're going to want to really focus on your habits, and knowing how your habits are affecting, how they're affecting your health. Okay. Detoxification, this is another placement that detoxification is going to be really key and important for you. I know I talked about it with Jupiter and the liver, but having this here, Pluto here, or if you have um, Scorpio in this um, in this uh, sixth house, detoxification is going to be really, really key for you, and not just like a physical detoxification, but also an energetic detoxification as well. Okay, because your elimination channels, they need to be flowing and working properly, because they can be prone to toxic buildup and toxicity in general. Okay. um, Now, in medical astrology, Pluto also works with certain types of surgeries and amputation and organ removals. So, if you had Pluto here, you may have had your appendix removed or your tonsils removed. Um, not everybody, but, that's just something that could have happened to you. Um, what else with Pluto? Pluto is a very obsessive energy, like I said. So you may, become obsessed with your eating habits or obsessed with your health routines, which it can become a little bit of a problem. I think having Pluto here, you can also see things like bulimia, being obsessed with your weight and not wanting to gain any weight. So bulimia and um, anorexia could also manifest here with this placement here. But having Pluto here, it can make you very focused and a very hard worker. And you might become obsessed over your work. Um, but you want to, kind of have a little bit of a balance there. Make sure that you're taking time for rest as well. Okay. If you're working 6 days a week, you need to take a full day where you're not working and you're resting your body. Okay. Um, Let me see here. What else? Let's see here. Pluto in the sixth house can also make you really good at multitasking. Okay. Um, Now, because Pluto has significations with the psyche, psychological illnesses can occur because of having Pluto here, or it can be like the root of any like psychological illness. Um, so that's something that you can uh, that I that you can see here with this placement. Okay. All right, so that is what I have for you for tonight. So let me know in the comments if you have any of these placements here. Have you seen any of the things that I mentioned here tonight, or what has manifested for you? Um, having these placements, and if you don't have any of these placements. You everybody has a sign here, and all of these planets are associated with the sign. And so you may have seen some of these things, manifest, even if you don't have placements here. Like for example, I have Capricorn in the sixth house, and I have um even though I don't have any placements in Capricorn, I have been diagnosed with a chronic illness. Okay. Saturn rules chronic illness. Now, my Saturn is in Libra. Okay. And so, with this chronic illness, I do have to, pay attention to my kidneys. Libra rules kidneys. Um, and so, it's significations with the kidneys. And so, even though Saturn is exalted in the sign of Libra, I still have to, do things to make sure that my kidneys are, in good working order. So, let me know in the comments. So that's how it can manifest, even if you don't have planets in the sixth house. So let me know, have you had any issues, or how has your health been? I mean, for the most part, I have, even with being diagnosed with a chronic illness, my health is still really well. Um, so it's not to where I am, like really down. You know, a lot of times the doctors are like, "Oh my God, how are you? You know, you're doing so well." And I attribute that to Saturn being in Libra. Okay, so it's kind of like a helping me out. Okay. So let me know in the comments. And if you got value out of this, let me know. Okay. So thank you so much for tonight's class. For those of you who were able to jump on, I appreciate it. And if you're watching the replay, I appreciate you watching as well. These classes are to help you to understand yourself better. And so let me know in the comments if you're getting value from these, and what do you want me to do next? Okay. What would you like to see next? Okay. Um, so if this resonated with you, please give it a like and share it out with someone, another divorcee, who needs help on their recovery journey. Now, if you want to continue to learn how you can use the natal astrology healing method for your divorce recovery, and to become a part of the Understanding Your University's Navigators community, then make sure you subscribe and click the bell so that you get notified when I upload new content to the channel. Also, don't forget to check the description for additional tools and resources, such as my ebook from Breakup to Brilliance, the Natal Astrology Healing Method, which teaches the first three practical steps of the method. Tonight was, one of the steps, which is learning your natal placements, um, which is the N. Okay. And or if you would like to book an energetic calibration reading with me, if you want more guidance outside of the content that I provide here on the channel. Okay. All right. And so until next time, remember that divorce is not your ending. It is your initiation into the most powerful version of yourself. All right. So I will see you on the next one, and you have a good one.